Are you looking for something different, something strange perhaps, something out of the ordinary, and for me anyway, something fantastic? Now, welcome to the Whiskey Lover Society, me Gert Retief, and I've been always looking for that, something strange, something unique, something different, something that it's not just a run-of-the-mill whiskey. So many whiskies that are out there have the same profile, the same nosing notes, maybe a little bit of a different tasting notes, but they are all more or less the same. Especially like me, I've been doing so many whiskies over the last 2.5 years. I think it's more than 400, I think 435, whiskey reviews. Sometimes you feel like, wow, it tastes familiar. It tastes like, well, hang on, let me go look in the bar. There's definitely something out there that tastes quite similar. So sometimes you need to find something that is different, something that makes your mind go, what the hell am I tasting? My nose is confused. They are happy. The taste buds are happy. Now, this is one of those whiskies. This is a whiskey that really wakes me up. It wakes up the brain cells, trying to identify all the different notes that come out. And of course, my taste buds was quite happy with this one. So I started yesterday already with this video, and I did a quick taking notes, did some thoughts on the whiskey, and it was one of those whiskies that it really confused me. And I kept the glass from last night. Well, it was empty. Well, there's a wee drop still left. Kept it overnight, and this morning it is just incredible. Now, I use a nosing note of honey quite often, but it's a different type of honey note that you get on the nose in some of the whiskies. This one, after last night's working, I can tell you, honey, a big old fat chunk of honey with the comb, that little waxiness of the honeycomb, and on top of that a little bit of a smoky note. And it's strange, the smoky note was a little bit less for me when it was still in the glass, but this morning I normally do it, leave the glass and only wash it the next day. Oh my word, this is such a big honey note. I really enjoyed that. So what am I talking about? Probably seen it in the description. I'm going to add it into the description, not in the photo. The Oban 43% ABV, aged in ex-refill bourbon casks. And of course at 43% there is some chill filtration. I have not any idea of the coloring. It is 14 years old. It's got a nice golden color, a little bit of a copper color coming out of that, a little bit of a viscosity on it, a little clingy to the glass, nice long slow legs forming, but I'm not sure about if I add any color. Now if I go into the nose on this one, cheers. Oh my word, there's a strangeness to it. There's something that confuses my nose. It's something that I cannot really associate it with another whiskey. My brain is saying, what is it? What is that different notes? And as soon as I think I'm picking up something, it changes again into something different. This for me is a complex one. And I think because of that complexity, you get a saltiness, a little briny note, you get a spicy note, and you get a sweet note. Now for me, adding salt to a lot of things does create a nice taste, a nice smell to it, except salted licorice. I couldn't stand this stuff. But they say butter and salt makes everything better. In this case, that salty, briny note with a hint of a smoke. I mean a real hint of a smoke. You really have to go look for it. A little bit more on the taste, but it just keeps on changing. That note of that peat is more a little bit referred to an earthy peat. A little earthiness that comes out. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of a caramel jumps out. A little bit of a orange peel note. And then I get, not every time, but every now and again I get a little bit of a cut grass, like a green note. And then I go back again, and then all of a sudden the sweetness elevates a little bit. A little bit of a toffee note, a little bit of a sweet, something like a fig note, a dried fig note. And I also picked that up in an empty glass, is a figgy note. Now, here in Belgium, they have dried figs. They squish it to a little pancake shape, and then they dry it out. And it is such a delicious snack. Now, I get that fig note in this one as well. Oh, that is so inviting. And then it feels like it wants to shout out, listen, caramel, caramel is there. And then all of a sudden, it disappears, and this briny note, that salty note, takes over and just pushes the caramel note a little bit down. I can tell you that with a little bit of time in a glass, it changes, keeps on changing, keeps on becoming nicer and nicer. A little bit of a dark, maybe something like a apple with some caramel over it, and maybe a little bit of an apple pie note with a hint of a cinnamon. I keep on making or picking up something different on the nose, and every time I go back, more sweetness, a little bit more sweetness. And that hint of that peat, that really small hint, now for me is completely gone. Oh my word. On the nose, it is just fantastic. On the taste, cheers. Oh wow. Oh wow. This is nice. It is sweet. There's a little bit of a spiciness in it, but not a oaky spiciness at the first sip. There's a caramel note, a little bit of an orange note. Again, not the orange juice, but more the concentrated of a caramelized orange peel, or a little bit of orange peel oil. There's that honey note, a sweet honey note, but with the nose and the taste, it's more like chewing the wax of the honeycomb. If you take a nice piece of honey that has got a comb in it, and you chew it and you are left with that honeycomb, that is the note that I get. Ooh, it's really nice. Brings me back as a child. My mom used to buy the honey with the honeycomb in it. It was like bubble gum for us, and I really like it. So this one brings me back. Bloody hell. This is a really nice one. Strange, even on the taste. Let me just make sure. Even on the taste, it challenges your palate. What is it that I'm picking up? And every time I go back, it's just a little bit different. Now, on the second sip, I get a little bit more oak, just to tone down that honey sweetness that comes out. Just want to make sure. A little bit more spiciness with a little bit bigger sip. It's a nice heat. A little bit of a build up on the oak, but just a little bit. And I think it's necessary, that little oakiness, that little bitter note just to tone down that sweetness of the whiskey. And then you are left with this fantastic mouth-covering sweetness, little oakiness, and all of this nice peppery note, a little bit of a caramel note, a little bit of a toffee note, the English toffee note. Wow, it is really nice. Even a little bit of a chili note, a little bit of a hotness, a little spicy note. Let me just make sure. One more try. There's a little bit of a oiliness, but for a second or two, it feels like a thick, viscous whiskey. And then all of a sudden, there's a dry mouthfeel that the alcohol just evaporates that oiliness. And then you are left with a lovely sweetness. Oh my word, this is one of the best whiskies that I have tried in quite a long time. From the nose to the taste, it delivered everything for me. Now, I've passed this Oban 14 so many times at all the duty-free shops, and I thought to myself, Oban, I'm not a big fan. I'm not so sure if I want to invest time and money into going into Oban. Haven't watched a lot of reviews, and I think the last time I watched the Oban 14 review was maybe a year, 2 years ago. So maybe not that a popular whiskey, but I can tell you something. This for me is a fantastic one. Now, I'm going to do some traveling in the next week and two. I'm definitely going to see if I can find a bottle and bring it home. Put it on the top shelf, the one that I really like. And of course, that changes quite often, but I do like this one. Now, what do you think? Have you tried this Oban 14? Maybe you have something else from Oban, and maybe there's even better ones than this out. So please leave a comment. Tell me what is your favorite Oban experience. And of course, as usual, please remember to like and subscribe. I see I had 11,000 people watching my YouTube channel in the last 28 days. Now, can you imagine if that 11,000 people like and subscribe? I'll have a good channel in no time. So thank you very much for watching. Cheers.